I'm going to start the whole scene here.
Whatever ails the heart,
Right. So now, once you pay the 1,000 gold, I'm sure that you can also fake your way into this thing. There is a specific spot somewhere in this room where you can do a perception check. And just for the sake of the whole thing, we're just going to go and do that real quick. I cannot equip my my advantage shield because already I have the infernal rapier in the offhand, and equipping the shield there is going to make my poor campion disappear, which I don't want to right now. Don't know if there is another way to achieve perception advantage. I don't think that there is, so I'm just going to go and, before I initiate the regular way of doing this, I'm just going to go ahead and see if we can't find the button. Perception investigation successful. So there's a button here which is going to open the door and allow me to go through. It's also going to not make the mapping of the heart happen. However, I do want the mapping of the heart to happen, which is what we're going to do in a moment. And the reason why I want the mapping of the heart to happen is because I want to have an easier time with the Mirror of Loss after the fight. With the Mirror of Loss, you get through checks, you get a +2 to a given stat that you want to increase, and then you can also increase your charisma with an additional +1, making it a +3, which for Wyll is going to get him to 24 charisma, and that is a big deal. So we are going to go in and settle in for the conversation with Viconia now.
do not look upon me. This is your time, not mine. Look inward. See what will be discovered. Do not be concerned with who I am. Instead, consider what I can do for you. You are here because something grieves you. Perhaps you know what that is. Perhaps you merely think you know. The mapping will reveal your heart form. Then the healing can begin. Answer the questions I put to you, and answer honestly. The lips may try to deceive, but the heart will offer the truth in the end. Let us begin. What last caused you to shed a tear?
Right. So the general idea is to deal with a particular mapping of the heart that's going to enable you to get out of the curse that she does. So once the fight starts, the mapping that she makes with you, that she does now of your heart, she's going to use that to her advantage. So the general idea is to go in here and choose the quote unquote right options here. So what I like to do with Wyll, and the weird thing here is that I actually forgot if that was the way I approached it, but there is one of the mappings that requires you to perform, and perform is basically the free action which makes you play an instrument, and that's going to help you get rid of the mapping in the fight, which is the one I'm going to go for. But the strange thing about this is I actually think that I didn't learn how to play the instrument while talking to Alfira in the beginning of the game, so it doesn't make any sense not getting that perform ability if you want to keep this option open to you, because some of the other mappings you need to help an ally, which I can't. I'm alone. Like all kinds of stuff that's too difficult. Something with, I forget if it's poisoning yourself. Some very weird things. But the mapping that involves what's called melancholy is the one that we're going to go for. And in the beginning here, we want to say number 3 wound to get that option.
So be it. The second question. What is your unspoken desire? The second question. What is your unspoken desire?
Right. And the next one we want to go for to indulge every hunger.
Your heart form begins to take shape. The third question. What is your greatest fear?
And the greatest fear here is to be without power.
The heart form grows clearer again. Such a burden you carry. But we can help. The fourth question. How would you spite one who wronged you?
And here the melancholy is fine. In the first option, I would not. I would forgive them.
Truly? A soft heart is not always a virtue. You have sought our help just in time. The final question. How would you feel if all your burdens were lifted?
I would be restless.
Curious. Perhaps you fear life without conflict. Perhaps you will invent some for your own gratification. It is done. Your heart form has revealed itself to me. You possess a melancholy heart. A smile is a stranger upon your lips. You do not know what you are missing, but you miss it nonetheless. We can spare you this pain.
Please help me.
Our help comes at a price, one that cannot be discussed here. We will talk further, but first, an introduction.
And then...
I am Viconia Devir. The House of Grief is mine. But what lies beneath? That belongs to my mistress. And that is where you must go. We will talk more down below.
Right, we descend. This is also an Easter egg for any old Baldur's Gate gamers, which I haven't played the first Baldur's Gate games, but Viconia I think is a companion in either the first or the second Baldur's Gate game. So that's funny. That is the case. Like, that's fine, but like how would you know if you didn't? So there are so many of those. Okay, so right now I'm a little bit confused. This guy is he just going to hang out there? Oh, he disappears, right? The mapping, yeah. Well, I went for the melancholy mapping. It doesn't say anywhere right now on my sheet anywhere, but I went for the melancholy mapping, which is going to give me, which I don't think, no, I cannot perform, so I can't even get out of it. But it would be something that that would enable me to get rid of the curse if I had chosen the melancholy mapping. Right now it's just not. If I get cursed, I get cursed. Then it is what it is. But let's see how we deal with this. So normally the idea here is that I place, this is going to be a little bit boring, but I'm going to be placing a firewall all the way through here. That's the idea. So once all of the dark justiciars or whatever they are at this moment, all kinds of weird titles are going to run, they have to run through the firewall. But the one thing that I don't know actually is if I do it this way, if Viconia instantaneously is going to be throwing, because she has now vision towards me, if she's going to be throwing the curse directly at me at this point. But I guess we'll have to find out the hard way. Just going to be placing a couple of things. Probably not the Moonlight Lantern in the first go, because already now I'm hidden. So in the off chance that being hidden is actually going to do anything for me, I'm going to take that chance. Let's see. Don't think that there is any AoE attacks coming up specifically. What's very important in this fight is that Viconia Devir, and I'm just going to approach her just a little bit to see if we can get an inspect on her there. I think I can actually even... Don't think anything's going to start before I head a bit further down. There we go. Just going to do the inspect here. So Viconia Devir is, I think, some kind of... She's not a paladin. I think she's a cleric of sorts with some kind of specific gimmicks, if I remember correctly. She has Sanctuary, which is going to be only, and she can only have this active on one character. Her legendary action, let's see if she actually has no... Oh, she does have a legendary action at the ready here. So these are the things that we're going to be afraid of here. But let's just go over real quick. Shield of Faith is what it is. Sanctuary makes her immune right now. Radiant Retort means that I cannot use Flame Strike, for instance, on her. No radiant attacks, which reminds me to just quickly check my gear. So no Blood of Lathander. Let's just quickly check. And there is no, I don't have any resistance to the necrotic damage, but I hope that I'll be able to manage. I was actually thinking about using the adamantine shield to avoid getting the critical hits, but I think I'll have a turn to switch that in if that becomes an issue. That's the idea, at least, so that she cannot crit me, because once she does the mapping, all of her attacks are going to be critical hit, but the adamantine shield is going to negate that. So having a source of critical strike negation is pretty important here, if I remember correctly. Trickery Cleric, Divine Strike, Poison, Spirit Guardians, and she can become invisible. Okay, and Divine Intervention. We'll have to see about those things. Divine Intervention sounds really scary. But let's see. Let us see. Let us see. Just want to make sure that I have everything set. I don't want to use the Callous Glow Ring because that is going to cause damage, the retort on me. Unless, of course, the firewall does not redirect damage directly to me, which I'm not quite sure about. I guess we could. This is probably more interesting. I think this is also going to negate them, actually. The coruscation ring with the radiating orbs is going to nullify their ability to do anything, really. Once they are lit up, I think this is good enough, I think. And the spell sparkler either works or it doesn't work. Yeah, I can't get into anything regarding Viconia because I know nothing about her, but I get the feeling that some of these things are done to please a specific audience, but it is what it is. Okay, I'm going to cast my Flame Strike here then. Then we'll get started, and I can recast that Flame Strike a couple of times. I do have some sources to help me. Also, there is one thing here that I think I simply... The free cast passive, which is... Let's just find it. Here we go. Free cast passive, which is going to make my first spell free. Basically, not the firewall, apparently. Interesting. It's going to make some spells free. Not all of them. let's just disable this, and let us try and see if we can't make the fight commence here. So the fight starts. Viconia has her turn. She jumps, and let's see if she immediately does. She does a dash. Right. So she doesn't activate her legendary action straight away. But now she has. Let's see. The Sanctuary of Loss. This is the one. If an ally is struck, Viconia can apply Sanctuary of Loss to them, shielding them from further attacks. This protection will wane if the protected creature attacks. So right now she's taking damage from the obviously from the aura of fire. She's not a very high HP NPC, so if you can kind of get her down her very quickly, I mean the fight is practically over. All right, so I'm going to do, before I do anything else, so I'm going to drop the Moonlight Lantern here, so that all of these guys cannot, they can shadow step to the firewall or to the edge of the Moonlight Lantern, but they shouldn't be able to go in there. And so I cannot harm her. And even if I could, she would probably retaliate with the Heart Wrench. I just quickly need to see. Viconia can rend a target with a Psychic Barrage, dealing 10 to 120 psychic damage after she or an ally is struck by a hard form mapped creature, which is me. So that's the big deal. And actually, what you want to do the second that you've got a firewall going is that you want to start piggybacking off of the black hole. So we're going to do that. And that should also block her direct vision to me. So let's just see if that gave her extra fire damage. It did hit her for a little bit of fire damage, but not a whole lot. Now she's slowed and she's down here with her friends. I do still have my action. I don't think I want to do anything specifically. I think we're just going to sit this out. I'm just going to check in with my friends. I have a friend right here. I think I actually want to... Just going to keep my friend here, I think. I'm going to let Wyll hop a little bit back here. And then we're just going to crouch him. Which is a little bit boring, but hey. Some of the NPCs here are just extremely high HP. They have a high attack rating, and for instance, the Justicia Crusaders have almost 200 HP, and that's just a henchman, right? A lot of these guys have 100 HP, so there's a lot of HP that needs to be taken care of in this fight. A lot of HP. just going to take out 10% here. That was the 10% frighten on Viconia. That is going to hurt. So the way that the mummy works is that it has that frighten ability that apparently works in some very unreasonable situations, like on bosses, for instance. Darkness on 4 targets. Do I want this to happen? Probably not. Let us use a psionic dominance to remove that. Yeah, there we go. Let us just quickly check. So now the blind, this was the reaction of Viconia. I just need to check if that was also her legendary action. Sanctuary of Loss legendary action. So that was the spell that she just did. So now she protected this guy with Sanctuary of Loss, which is basically a sanctuary spell. And then the other thing, the heart wrench, is that if the heart map creature strikes, then she does the other thing. So that's the thing that I need to be careful of. Did I manage to block myself using shovel? Great. Having darkness in your fight is very, very annoying. So trying to deal with this guy down here is probably something that I want to do, if at all possible, because of my very stupid positioning here. I don't want to fly through the firewall, but if I can position myself, would this be within? Just want to check if that's darkness as well. So there's that. The Fidelians are doing the darkness. You can't even target the guy, so that kind of settles it. Let's just shoot here then. Right. So at this point, I'm just going to go down there and use the black hole to pull these guys in. And then I want to see if she triggers the hard form stuff. How can I actually attack this guy? Sanctuary of Loss. I'm confused now. Am I able to trigger this guy because of the hard form? Alright. Repelling Blast is on. This guy has been targeted now with the spell, that's why. Let's see. She doesn't retaliate. Is she, in fact... No, she's not stunned currently. No. She just doesn't retaliate. I think Viconia cannot retaliate if she can't see you. I think the Heart Wrench ability has a very, very long range. but I do not think that she can actually use it if she cannot see the target that she's trying to hit. Okay, let's GTFO with this guy. We could place him in the darkness. Is the Sanctuary of Loss actually working for him, or is it just the darkness blocking? I think it's the darkness. No. Doesn't look like the Wall of Fire is actually applying the Radiant Orbs, which I had hoped, so that bit didn't work the way I had planned. Let's just check if Viconia, she's still frightened, so I could just try to reapply. Doesn't have any better thing to do here. Saved. She needs to roll a 2, a 1 or a 2, so, and here is the darkness, so we're just going to backlash this. Yeah, Ginger, it's there are so many things that happen, like retconish thing that happened to some of the lore and the stories of the people or the characters you know in video games. That's never very satisfying. I've been in that situation so many times where I felt a little bit dissatisfied with whatever they decided to do with some of the characters that I really liked from various video games, so I know that feeling all too well. So I think I'm just going to position this guy over here. He'll have to take a couple of hits, but that is okay. And then I need to find out where the darkness concentration is. The Fidelians, let's see. How many Fidelians do we have left? We have a lot of Fidelians left, really. A lot of Fidelians left. It's just not possible to really deal with those that effectively. So the darkness is going to be, and there we go with the castigation. And that's the thing now. Now I have the castigation. So let's take a look at this real quick. So the Melancholy Heart is going to automatically critically hit me with Viconia's attack. It is still my assumption that any sort of critical strike immunity is going to negate this effect. But anyway, it's not too nice. And so when this effect, to remove this effect, I can perform. But I cannot perform because I did not interact with Alfira in the beginning of the game in the proper way, so I do not have the perform skill. So that's a good reason to why getting the perform skill, since it's basically free. You can talk to Alfira whenever you like, and you get the perform skill, and then you can whistle, you can play an instrument, whatever it is really that you like, and it's going to be very effective for you. I think I should go and redo the... No, wait. Let us first try this out. I really want to see what triggers the castigation or triggers the legendary action. I'm going to black hole here just to see what happens. That did not trigger the castigation, so that's a good thing. And where is Viconia now? She's at 41 HP. I wonder if... So the spell guard from her shield counts Eldritch Blast as a spell. You gain advantage on saving throws. Spell attack rolls against you have disadvantage. Right. So even with a high attack roll, there's a chance to, but like I need to hit her twice and the fight is going to be over. So that's a good question. Probably she's going to die from the fire stuff next round as well. So I probably don't want to do anything really. I want to stay in relative safety up here, hiding. I think that this is probably the one saving grace in this fight, is that she doesn't have a lot of HP. So the fight is over before her game mechanics really start to blow up in your face. Okay, this is just all darkness. I don't care if they get advantage on attack rolls at this point. Being blind obviously is not a very smart thing to be, but it's not going to matter much. Never mind. The darkness is just such a killer in this fight. If you've done this fight with a full party and you are somewhere in the room or whatnot, and you just do it regularly, darkness everywhere, this fight is a real nightmare. If one of the criteria for doing this fight would be that you had to go to Viconia and do the fight in the middle of the room with Viconia, that would be a different beast. But every fight where you can basically channel all of the enemies through like some kind of staircase like this, it's just makes it a lot easier. So it could be fun to just go down and initiate the fight at Viconia and just see what happens. But that belongs to a different run. Firewall. The firewall solves the whole thing. Also because it negates her legendary action. Now she's not going to use her castigate stuff on me. I do have the psychic damage on there, and let's just double check for the sake of it. I want to be absolutely certain before I do something stupid. Hard range, 110 to 120 psychic damage. So even if the resistance doesn't go through and I get 120 damage, that's going to be enough still for me. Apart from the odd chance that she would be critting me. Probably I'm not going to science that bit out. So let us just go ahead and drag these guys down. Firewall is still working. I'm not going to push the envelope on this. There's going to be plenty of dangerous fights to come. Just going to end this and then move on, hopefully. See you, Squiz. Thank you for showing up. The firewall is just a ridiculous. Probably this goes for all of the wall spells, but it is just a ridiculous mechanic in this game, because the enemies are just not smart enough to not go into it. Like, what they should do is that when there's a firewall, what the enemy should be doing would be, first of all, not going into it, obviously. But if it was there, they had to go through the firewall to be able to get to the enemies. They should be waiting it out. They should be waiting it out all of the 10 turns, just ending their turns. In my opinion, that would solve a great big deal of the problems. Because obviously this is extremely gimmicky. In the fire. Oh wait. I think that was... It has resistance. Let's go. Oh, it's a sanctuary. Okay, great. What? That was one of the Justicia Crusaders, so, and I am wondering why he only did one attack, but he does have extra attacks, so he should be doing 2 attacks per turn. And this is just to kind of measure up what we're up against here, not counting the gimmick of the firewall, discounting the gimmick of what I did to solve the encounter. Looking at the potential damage of what we're fighting is what I want to do here. So the Justicia attacks with a main hand attack, which is 2d6. It's a greatsword, 2d6 plus 4. And here is the damage. So the damage is 2d6 plus 4, which is the strength modifier. That's the baseline of the... Yes, once yeah, we can go. I'm just going to hover over the Dark Justicia again, over the unit card. Yeah, we can look at the abilities that the Justicia Crusaders have. Born into darkness, cannot be blinded. Okay. Dark Vengeance, advantage against a target standing in darkness. Okay, right. That's already ridiculous. Dark Vision, doesn't matter. Extra attack, that's 2 attacks. And they have the Shadow Ambush, which is 4 to 32 while attacking from the shadows. So basically this encounter is impossible to do without some way of negating the darkness advantage that these guys have. You need some kind of solution to the crazy amounts of necrotic damage and the crazy advantage of the darkness spell in this fight. And obviously, when you're hiding on a staircase where the enemies don't really know what to do, none of that matters. Of course, with the aid of the Moonlight Lantern, obviously, none of that matters. So, but what I'm saying is that the baseline of this encounter is incredibly difficult. If you take a level, let's just say 10 or 11 party, you throw them down here on balanced mode with no gimmicky builds, no gimmicky setup, you throw them in there in this fight, there's a very big chance that it's going to end up in a reload. So I'm just saying that these enemies are incredibly dangerous, and they seem to be hitting all of the time. But with a gimmick, everything works. Let's see.